guess I know how to use a knife and have ever since I was a kid. But not every fight is a life and death fight. Here in McCook I've seen some almost comical fights. For an example, I was over at Norris Park and there was about an 8-year-old boy. Then there was a 10-year-old boy there too. Well, the 8-year-old boy wanted to fight that 10-year-old boy. The 10-year-old boy said, "I ain't gonna fight you." So the 8-year-old, he called him names, as dirty a names as he could come up with, and it still didn't push him into wanting to fight. So then the 8-year-old called the 10-year-old brother or boy, he called his sister names. And the 10-year-old said, "I don't care, I hate my sister, call her any names you want." That kind of frustrated the littler boy, and so he then called the 10-year-old boy's parents' names, as dirty a names as he could think up. And it still didn't register for that 10-year-old boy to want to fight. So then the 8-year-old boy, he out of total frustration of trying to get this bigger boy to fight him, he walked over to the 10-year-old boy's bicycle and kicked it and knocked it over. The fight was on. But the 10-year-old boy said, "You know what? It ain't fair that I'd be fighting you," because he said, "I'm 6 inches taller than you." Of course, he was on all gangly bones and skin, not an ounce of meat on him. But needless to say, this bigger kid said, I'm not going to fight you with 2 hands. He said, "I'll tell you what, I'll fight you with 1 arm behind my back." Now, I had heard of that in my time, but I'd never seen it in my 50-plus years of living here on Earth. But that's what they did. And that 10-year-old boy, he kept his arm behind his back the whole fight. Now, that was the only rule that was in that. Now, they could hit, punch, kick, including kicking between the legs, grabbing shirts, tearing, doing whatever they could possibly do to hurt each other, but they, no face shots. I never saw a face shot strike. But be that as it may, they rolled on the ground, they wrestled, they fought, just a continual battle, and it didn't look like nobody was getting hurt, so I let it just go on in front of my candy truck off to the side. Nobody was there anyway to speak of. And so they was fighting, and they finally got tired of fighting. They got up and they came over. They needed a pop break, so they each bought a pop, drank it. Then they went back over and started fighting again. And again, the entire time, that 10-year-old boy had his hand behind his back, though, to make it fair. And that's how they did it. They kept fighting. Now, I'm the first one to admit that that fight that lasted 15 minutes plus total time of fighting time, I'm the first one to admit that it wouldn't have lasted near that long, except there were 6 little girls standing there watching them. And they both was trying to impress the girls, as many young gentlemen do. Even the little guys want to impress the girls. Be that as it may, that was one fight I think I've seen that was quite enjoyable. I've seen others too. So not every fight is a life and death, and sometimes it's best just to stay out of it and let the kids get it out of their system. It's kind of like what I think we should do in the Middle East. I've always said we ought to get out of there and let the Muslims kill each other. Let the Jews and the Muslims fight it out a little bit. Oh, it might take a nuke or 2 before they finally say, this isn't worth it. You know, it took the Protestants and the Catholics, you know, a lot of centuries of fighting over there in Ireland before they finally said, you know, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The Muslims are the same way. They're just an immature little group of people in the sand with nothing better to do than believe that their God, they're fighting for their God, which if their God was really God, he'd do his own fighting for him. This McCook's Mr. Bill. Rate this film.